Hi everybody and welcome. Tonight we're going to be reading a book by Rick Rubin called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. I've read most of this book already, and if you didn't read the description, I will also be giving an unfiltered commentary throughout, so this is not going to be like an audiobook. I will read everything in the book, but I will also be talking about what I think and how I feel about it during. You could be listening to this while you're going to sleep, or while you're driving, or while you're doing anything. But I hope you enjoy, and thank you so much for listening. So in this book, there's 78 areas of thought. And in this, we're just going to read the first one. And then as I continue to read, it will be in each episode or post or however you want to call it, whatever your platform you're watching on, whether it's Spotify or YouTube, each video or episode will be the next chapter or area of thought. So it begins with this. Nothing in this book is known to be true. It's a reflection on what I've noticed, not facts so much as thoughts. And what I said about that is, truth is opinion. Nothing is true, but everything is truth. I think that's an interesting way to think about things when we come to what truth and what true is. I feel as though a lot of us get very hung up on not being able to have discernment between the two things, that something can be someone's truth, but it doesn't mean that it's true. Anything that's materialized exists, so it's real. And if someone believes it, it's true. That is their truth. And we can't determine what is true completely. None of us actually know anything. We just kind of guess, and we believe our own truths, and that's what we live by until we're not here anymore. But I'm going to continue. Some ideas may resonate, others may not. A few may awaken an inner knowing you forgot you had. Use what's helpful, let go of the rest. And I made a note here and I said, only ever take what's meant for you. I feel as though a lot of us chase things that we don't really resonate with because it feels like that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go after a career, a job, a degree, or a person, a hobby, anything that makes us feel like we're on track with the people around us. And if something doesn't feel like it's for you or like it matters to you, leave it. I'm going to continue. Each of these moments is an invitation to further inquiry, looking deeper, zooming out or in, opening possibilities for a new way of being. So, we're going to go ahead and move on to the first area of thought, which is everyone is a creator. Those who do not engage in the traditional arts might be wary of calling themselves artists. They might perceive creativity as something extraordinary or beyond their capabilities, a calling for the special few who are born with these gifts. Fortunately, this is not the case. Creativity is not a rare ability. It is not difficult to access. Creativity is a fundamental aspect of being human. It is our birthright, and it's for all of us. Creativity doesn't exclusively relate to making art. We all engage in this act on a daily basis. To create is to bring something into existence that wasn't there before. I made a note here, and I said a thought, or idea, or meal, anything. When people say not everything is possible, or anything along those lines, I truly believe in my heart and in my mind that if you can think something, you can materialize it. If something is in your brain and you can see it or visualize it or feel it, you can create it into the physical world in some way. I do believe that completely. It could be a conversation, the solution to a problem, a note to a friend, the rearrangement of furniture in a room, a new route home to avoid a traffic jam. What you make doesn't have to be witnessed, recorded, sold, or encased in a glass for it to be a work of art. Through the ordinary state of being, we're already creators in the most profound way, creating our experience of reality and composing the world we perceive. I made a note here, and I said we often need witnesses to validate ourselves. That should not be the case. A lot of times, we're looking for witnesses to our actions or witnesses to our being in order to make us feel as though what we're doing is right or it's good or it is. When truly, whether someone's there or not, it is. Like it will always be. And a lot of the times it's almost like when you're a kid and you draw a picture in school and you bring it to your family and you're hoping that they put it in the refrigerator. We feel that way as adults. We are creating something and it's special to us. And if other people like it or if other people resonate with it or feel something from it, that means that we were right to do it. But we were right to do it anyways. I'm going to continue. In each moment, we are immersed in a field of undifferentiated matter from which our senses gather bits of information. The outside universe we perceive doesn't exist as such. Through a series of electrical and chemical reactions, we generate a reality internally. We create forests and oceans, warmth and cold. We read words, hear voices, and form interpretations. Then in an instant, we produce a response. All of this in a world of our own creation. And I put a little heart next to that because I feel like we forget, or maybe not forget, I feel like so many of us don't realize how beautiful it is that we were an idea and then we became a living, breathing thing. And then we are a community of living, breathing things that create. Um, we, we lose sight of how absolutely magical that is and how much of the earth and the world we get to experience and interpret and feel. That's a privilege. I'm going to continue. Regardless of whether or not we're formally making art, we are all living as artists. We perceive, filter, and collect data, then curate an experience for ourselves and others based on this information set. Whether we do this consciously or unconsciously, by the mere fact of being alive, we are active participants in the ongoing process of creation. To live as an artist is a way of being in the world, a way of perceiving, a practice of paying attention, refining our sensitivity to tune in to the more subtle notes, looking for what draws us in and what pushes us away, noticing what feeling tones arise and where they lead. I made a note there and I said noticing has become an art. I think that being intentional is something that's so lost, and being intentional about what you're doing and what you're looking. A lot of people, you'll go on a run, you're trying to get that however many miles you're running, and you're getting to your goal, and then you're running back home or you're running back to your car or whatever. And there's so much happening around you. Sometimes there's leaves falling, sometimes there's flowers blooming, sometimes there's water rushing, and you're not noticing it because you're focused on your goal and you're focused on what you feel like you should be doing. Everything around you is happening and changing all of the time. All the time. And if you sit down and you just look around you, or you're running and you take a breath and you look up and you look around you, you'll feel it. Attuned choice by attuned choice, your entire life is a form of self-expression. You exist as a creative being in a creative universe, a singular work of art. I wrote my ending thoughts about this chapter. We often forget life is unironically what we make it. Everything and nothing matters. This paradoxical existence is just a blink. There's power in knowing. We materialize and intellectualize our world, and none of it is true. It is truth, our truth. Just like I was saying earlier, nothing is completely true. There's no way to prove something. There's just ways that we have seen things and we have used them to validate our own confirmation biases on different things. And that's just the way that we go on as a society. But truth is far more important than true, which I liken to being right. And everything matters and nothing matters. And I truly feel that in my heart. A lot of people will say that that's a very nihilistic concept, and I have to basically explain that whenever I am talking to someone, when I do say I have this outlook that, like, hey, I'm here until I'm not. And it can be looked at as a very lonely thing, or it can be looked at as such a freeing thing to know that you're here with the time that is yours and your body that is your own. And your life will ultimately be what you make of it because it's your choice. Everything you do is a choice. Your reactions to things are choices. And so I think it's amazing that we live in a world where we basically get to choose our own adventure, like a choose our own adventure book. So, anyways, that's it for this chapter. Thank you for listening, and I'm excited to get into the next one with you.